Uncute does not have the same ring as Are You Currently Ugly? That's funny. You are a comedian.
Hey.
Yes, he understood the assignment.
Not Michael calling me talking about my hair is not done. This is why I'm not on camera. What did you just say?
Oh my God. I said he understood the assignment.
So I take it you just watched it.
Yes. I
Thought.
was like, oh my God. I love the hair though. Whoa. Hello, blonde.
hello.
Like,
I
love how you're like, I'm going to deliver this message to all those unattractive people out there while looking absolutely stunning on camera. I was like, bitch, please.
Oh my God. It's so funny that you say that. So I've been recording right now, recording the responses to it and uploading it as episodes.
How viral has it gone?
It's gone pretty viral for me, and
Yeah.
I really didn't. It was funny because it all started with a post on. I just posted something on Facebook, and then it was kind of funny to me. And then I said, let me just take it to Instagram, and the post that I read on there, and that post was if you are ugly or overweight but need to create content for your business, holler at me to get your podcast started.
I fucking love it. I think that's hysterical. And it's true, though. Don't wait. You don't have to be pretty to not be on camera.
It's so funny. I think when I tell you, I didn't even plan for it to be this huge kind of product, and now it's this product. And it really just came from the fact that, because you're a podcast that I coach. So it already comes from coaching podcasts, producing and developing podcasts. And the number one reason was always people saying they couldn't do it because they didn't feel comfortable on camera. And
that's why they all say you got a face for radio.
Yes, exactly. And that is a pain point for me because I'm Miss Confident Coach Queen, life, like personal development, all positive. And I'm just like, I'm so tired of hearing that. And it's hearing when I get my hair and makeup done, I can do it. Friday never comes. And then once I get this done, I'll do it. And for me, because I'm only doing podcasts for leaders, industry leaders, and people that have something of substance to say, I always think to myself, you are really missing a moment of what you have to. People need to hear what you have to say, but you're not letting that into the world because of a haircut. Really?
Well, and this you could go the campaign a step further and like make 2024 come as you are. This is the come as you are generation. Like if what we're asking for and what we're demanding from people is authenticity, then a version of who you are has to show up every day. Like you have to find a way to bring that person every day, even if it's not quite ready yet. The one that's a little unkempt, the hair ain't done or whatever. There has to be a baseline version of you that you can bring to the table every single time. And if that means that we need to coach people on what's the minimum you could do to feel comfortable on camera so that you can just bring the come as you are, basic version of you, and still get your message out and still get your messaging done. Because, if the systems are going to reward consistency and regularity and all that stuff, then you've got to create content that comes out regularly, which means you have to always be ready to record something. And you know what? The majority of these people that have really amazing followings and shit, they record themselves. They don't care where they are. They can be on the toilet.
Right?
You know what I mean? And they're like, God damn, that got 1 million views. What the hell? So I haven't even begun to start doing that yet. And that's what I'm doing for 2024 is I'm right now I'm supposed to be preparing new content for the episodes and the podcast only doing 2 large, episodes a month, and then the other 2 are me on camera, just talking about what I know about fear at the intersection of entrepreneurship, ingenuity, creativity, and so on. So that I have material that I can put out there where it's my face forward, where it's my opinions and my subject matter expert, whatever, And I got to start getting that done. I mean, today I just spent, the last 2 hours I spent on Pod Match and Match whatever, answering 57 fucking requests to be on my show.
Nice.
Where I'm like, I can't have all you people. I can't even.
Well, okay, so for the folks that are listening to this, Michael, tell them what's your name of your podcast.
Oh, thefearlessroad.com. The Fearless Road Podcast.
Okay, Fearless Road Podcast, which is a podcast that I can proudly say I was a part of in doing the pre-development of this podcast and getting it out there. You guys check out this podcast.
You're gonna be on the show.
Oh yes. Forgot that part. Definitely going to be on the podcast too. But one of the things that I really like about, because my hashtag for this campaign is ugly people and ugly people podcast. You'd be surprised how many people have been DMing me saying I need one of those ugly people podcasts.
Ugly people. You should hashtag ugly people podcast too.
It has turned into this whole thing. They're like, you see me, I see you. This is my real issue. And I'm like, I know.
Trust me, there are ugly people there are people who are pretty being ugly on podcasts. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh my God, yes.
Out there, just because they look good doesn't mean they got the right message to sell. Just because they're pretty doesn't mean that they're not being ugly on camera. Do you know what I'm saying?
But this is another thing too, Michael. The other way that I'm positioning Ugly People podcast is that we all have ugly moments. We have ugly moments, and that's why I decided to add the episodes of the reactions, because these are conversations that are not in a studio, that are literally you just called me.
Yeah.
People feel like I need to do ABC, XYZ. No.
But I like the idea of reframing and redefining ugly. I love the idea that ugly can mean pure and clean and easy. It could be down dressed. It can be downsized. It can be reduced to its basics and what it needs to be, and not have to be zhuzhed and all dressed up and all that stuff. No. It can just be the basics. You know what I mean? And I think it's steak and fucking potatoes.
That's exactly what it is. And I think the whole thing is, without just accepting the basic, you won't get your voice heard.
Well, and it's very difficult. One of the things I was writing about this about the year of authenticity, that I am chasing my authenticity down. Like I'm chasing it like a fucking hunter. Because even though I feel like I try to live authentic, chasing authenticity is a constant effort in order to really show up as you are and love who you are when you get there. Do you know what I mean? If you want people to accept you for who you are, you have to start doing the work first. And that means you got to bring who you are every single time. And one of the things that we've been doing most of our lives is we have been masking who we are for other people for so long. We don't know who we bring to the table. We don't know who the OG version of ourselves is, that dressed down, that may be the one that's hidden, the one that nobody gets to see. And that's what we need to start looking at bringing to these conversations on a regular basis.
Have you ever felt where you were unattractive and it stopped you from doing something, whether it is starting a podcast or whether it's not going to...
No, I would say if it ever stopped me from doing something, it would have stopped me from maybe going to a particular party or a bar because I was invited, or something public like that, where I felt like I was going to be among other people that were trying too hard to be dressed up and fancy. And I was like, I don't have the energy for this. I just can't do this. And there was a time when I was younger where beauty just came easy for me. It was just what I walked around in it like a natural thing. I didn't know it because I had body dysmorphia, so I wasn't aware of it as much. Looking back on it, so much easier now because I can see how I was, young and pretty. But I still didn't know it, and I didn't use that in a way that I wonder. I don't even know if it's an advantage. I don't even think you should, because if you do know you're pretty, what do you do differently and how do you behave differently? I think the people with the real power are the ones who don't know they're good looking.
But I take it a step from there. I don't think it has anything to do with physically being good looking. And I think that's the way I frame that question with people. It's, have you ever felt unattractive? Because you could be a 12 and feel unattractive. That's why I don't relate it to actual, like, okay, how do we place you in the marketplace? But
I felt unattractive when I've behaved poorly. I felt unattractive when I've hurt someone in public with my words, because I knew I had that power and that ability to put them in their place. That was when I felt the ugliest.
Unattractive.
But,
yeah,
very, very unattractive. And I'm like, dang it, I don't like that about me. And I know my words can cut people. I know I have that ability and that power. And sometimes when it comes out sideways, you know, it hurts other people. And that's not nice. And that's a very ugly version of me that I don't ever want to be. I want to be supporting people and propping them up. I want to be raising them up to their best that they can be and seeing them in their highest light. That's my most natural space and place where I like to exist. So yeah, and I have been ugly in the past, and I have, but knowing that it's stopped me from doing something, that's hard to say, because I've always been a go-getter. I've always been a confident person chasing stuff that didn't even belong to me. You know, people are like, how are you going to get that? And I'm like, just watch, you know, and half the time I may not get it, but on the way to trying, I got a lot more than not trying.
But that's what brings us together, because you and me, we think the exact same way. And all of my life, I've always heard you need to be a life coach. You need to be a confidence coach. And that's why I give confidence camps. I do confidence camps. I do content camps. I do a lot of motivational speaking. I do a lot of growth strategy. And I started doing that in Silicon Valley when I would see people, and particularly, obviously this goes across men and women, but particularly I would see super successful women have kind of challenges or issues. And I'm just thinking to myself, you just raised $20 million. How are you, like, what? Like, you literally work at NASA. Like, what could you be insecure about? I'm like, you've got 4 degrees from Harvard.
But this is why I love what you and I do. We look at people's successes and think, wow, how can you feel
less than?
How can you feel less than? How can you not feel confident walking in the shoes of your own life? When we look at you and we see all these incredible things, and you and I, we don't even have to have those huge successes.
Nope.
And you and I could walk in confidence.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
For sure.
We can carry it with us, because it's just, I don't know, whatever the gift was that we got, both the gift for gab and the gift for socializing and all that stuff, allows us to walk into spaces, because we're just as interested in everybody else as we are interesting to be around. And it's something that we practiced. It's something that we enjoy doing. And it's something we find fascinating and fun. Now, when we look at other people, there's so many people out there with massive amounts of success under their belt, holding on to doubt and shame about a piece of themselves. It's that one little kernel that keeps popping up. This is why I talk about making fear your friend, right? It's about that one little piece of fear that pops its head up every time you try to do, have, or be something better than who you are right now. That's when you tell the universe, oh, I'm not good enough as I am. So now all the doubt's going to flood in. So all those little things are going to pop up, because you just told the universe, I want to do, be, or have something better than who and where I am at the moment, which suggests that who I am at the moment isn't good enough. And that is not necessarily the truth. Chasing to do and be more, trying to do and be more, doesn't mean that you're not good enough. But what it does do is it suggests that you don't have enough, that you aren't good enough, and that you aren't enough right now to step into that next amazing version of yourself. And so that little kernel, that little tiny little thing your mama said to you, your sister did to you, or your boyfriend did to you, or whatever, is that little tiny thing that's going to creep up and try to steal your light. It's going to creep up and try to take your thunder, and it's going to steal your confidence in the moments when you probably need it the most.
And I think that's one of those things that's why I started doing the confidence camps. And I don't like to call them confidence camps. And I always steer clear of the word confidence, because no one likes to identify as a person lacking confidence. Nobody does. I've had these talks so many times. And so I always land on personal development, productivity, and efficiency. And so when people are like, where do you live? I'm like, I live at the intersection of living a liberated life, increasing productivity, efficiency, personal development. And that really is confidence coaching with method and strategy. That's it. But I've learned over the years, people just don't like the word confidence.
This is why I feel like some of what you and I do is taking ownership back of certain words. I feel like industries and culture and society have, kidnapped certain words and turned them into things that we should be ashamed of, afraid of, or not covet. And it's like, no. You don't get to own the definition of success and tell me what that means. You don't get to tell me what confidence means. Yes. I don't need to be ashamed of being proud. Proud is a good thing. I should be proud of the work I do and the things I do. Pride is a good and healthy thing.
Of course.
Ego is an important fucking part of our lives and our character. You can't deny ego. You can't shove it away. But it is a part of who you are.
With the high self-esteem, if anybody asked me, I was like, yeah, I have high self-esteem. I have self-confidence. I've got all of that. But whenever you identify someone who's lacking those things, that's why I stay clear of the word confidence, because they don't want to feel as though they have low confidence or low self-confidence. No, it makes them feel worse. And when I say, you know what, we just need personal development strategy.
So it's not constructive for them.
Exactly. It's not constructive. And I want to be constructive for people.
Well, that's why I also reframe the words fear. And talking about making fear your friend, all of these different things that we have, fear is not a bad thing. Fear is not an enemy. Fear is not an obstacle. Fear is a tool and fuel for change in our lives. It is a friend. It is an ally on your journey. Because, by the way, this is not going to go away. You're not going to it's not going to disappear one day and you're never going to have fear again. Like, do you remember the day you were born? Fear was with you from the moment you came out of your mother's womb to the moment you die. So if you're not going to spend time turning that part of your persona into an asset and an ally, then you will spend inordinate amounts of energy during your life running away from it and trying to conquer it and push it down. And guess what? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And that's something that you have in spades. You have an understanding about your fears as assets and resources. You have an understanding about your weaknesses and your things that might hold you back as ways to observe opportunity for moving forward and looking at change. You do that in a way that not only provides that as a role model for other people, but puts it into practice in your business and other things, showing other individuals, executives, and leaders how they can utilize some of these tools to reflect on the parts of themselves that might need work and might need to be reconstructed or redesigned in a way that puts them in a better position to make decisions, a better position to make choices, a better position as a leader, right?
That is the Fearless Role podcast, people. That was the perfect segue to that. That is what he's talking about when he's talking about fear. Oh my gosh. I love the way that you repurpose that. And if, like you said some words, have been kidnapped. I've never thought about it like that. I love that.
That's it, though. I feel like certain words that would have been there to empower us have been taken away and used in ways that make us afraid to use them or to assign them to ourselves. And that's not fair. Words are our power source. We should take a word and use it to help raise us up, to lift us up, to help better define and redefine and repurpose our own personal meaning in this world and in this space. That's what words are supposed to be able to do for us. That's how we can utilize them. So I invite everybody to take a look at repurposing words in your life that better fit who you are, where you are at this moment.
What would you say to somebody who is, I'm going to use your term, fearful for starting their podcast? Or I want to ask that question as well. We'll start there. What would you say for somebody who's fearful to start?
Well, I would say give me the 5 things you think you fear about why you should start a podcast, and those are the 5 things you should talk about first. Those are the 5 things you should focus on every single episode until you get past them. Like, exploring and examining and bringing those things into the light is exactly where they will dissolve and dissipate and disappear. That is exactly where you doing the work will begin to gain the very assets, characteristics, and traits that you need to get beyond those things, to move past those things. Because on the other side of those things that you think are holding you back, that you think you might fear, on the other side of that, that's your success. That's your growth. That's your opportunity. So I would say take those things, those 3 to 5 things, whatever they are, write them down and make that your subject matter. Make that your focus for the first few episodes and explore what they are and why they are. Then once you start doing it, they don't hold as much power anymore. In fact, they just start shifting a little bit. In fact, they turn into little things like they help you focus differently. It's like putting lenses on where you start seeing things a little bit differently. You start seeing these opportunities that come your way a whole lot differently than you did before, simply because you've now adjusted your lenses and your perspective, if you will, on the meaning of those pieces of fear, on the meaning of those setbacks and holdbacks, those obstacles that might be standing in your way. Once you take a look around the mountain and you get to the other side of that wall, it's not so bad. It's not so intimidating. And you know what? It ain't going to kill you, and it ain't going to destroy you. What will is your lack of fortitude and effort and determination to go beyond that which you think might be holding you back.
And amazing. Fantastic. I love that. Definitely, guys, use that as a roadmap. Start with the 5 things that's holding you back and then talk about them. Basically, shed some light on those fears. Expose them, get them out there. Listen, I keep them hidden. And the final question I want to ask you, what would you suggest to someone who's feeling like they're in an ugly moment and it's not really about podcasting? They're showing up in life where they feel like they're in an ugly moment. How can they get past that?
Well, this is another one where I would ask them to define what that means. Remember how you asked me when I was being ugly? And to me, being ugly is when I'm hurting and harming other people with my words or my actions. That is something I was very aware of. I would invite the person who thinks something is ugly about themselves to actually write that down and take a look at it. If you were being unattractive in your behavior or your actions towards another person, and you put that down next to this characteristic trait that you think is ugly, which one's worse? Can you now see that the thing you thought made you ugly is actually just a trait? It's just a nuance. It's just a facet of who you are. What really makes us unattractive is the way we behave towards other people when we're being mean, unappreciative, or unkind. And that is something to always keep in mind when you are trying to compare your ugliness to other people, or your ugliness to what you're doing, or how you're coming across, right? If we're talking topical, we're talking physical traits, doesn't exist. That's all in your mind. Somebody might have told you that. Doesn't exist. There is no ugly human. There is no ugly person. God made all of us, and we're all beautiful in our own way. We all have different traits and characteristics, and there's a lid for every pot, as they say. But if you have something you really think is holding you back because you think it's an unattractive part of who you are, I ask you, is that really the unattractive part of who you are? If you could put it next to the moments when you're being mean and hurtful to other people, and you can really identify when those moments happen and when you're doing that, is this trait that you think makes you unattractive actually that thing at all? Or is it just something you're holding on to because what you really fear is what's on the other side of accepting yourself for who you are and loving yourself?
I love that.
Because on the other side of that is power. On the other side of that is glory. On the other side of that is true confidence. On the other side of that is success. And a lot of us are afraid of what we might receive if we truly step into that version of ourselves. Being accountable for your own integrity means stepping 100% into loving and accepting yourself for who you are, which also means that you have to do and say the things that hold integrity in those moments. And if you fail doing those things, if you hold yourself back from doing those things, that means you're not living in integrity, which means you're not living your truth. And if you're not living your truth, that's why you don't think it's attractive. That's why you don't think you're attractive in these moments, because you aren't truly living your truth. You're holding your own self back.
Wow. This is why you guys go to my bio, click that link in bio, and go from the ugly friend to the cool, confident, cute friend. That's my new community. And you will find us hanging out there because you don't want to be the ugly friend. We are done. We're done being the ugly friend. You're going to be the cool, confident, cute friend. Like, who is that? Who's the cool, confident, cute friend?
Yes, I want to know that. I want to know them.
That's you. Welcome to the community. That is what we're doing. So check us out, guys. You'll be able to find more folks like us. And Michael, tell us the podcast so people can go check it out.
The Fearless Road podcast. Go to thefearlessroad.com. You can find me on the Fearless Road, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm all over.
I'll put the links to everything for the website and the YouTube channel so everybody can check it out and subscribe to what he's doing. He's got amazing episodes. And I kind of hate to send people over there, Michael, because it is nothing ugly about your scene.
Well,
y'all,
I can't help it. I did get a little bit of this from my mama. I have to say that. God rest her soul.
Oh, God rest her soul. We are TV people, y'all. So you seeing a bunch of production just from who we are as people. Y'all gonna get over there and be like, if he don't get off of here talking about ugly, it is gorgeous. It gives me this like warm feeling, and I just really like it. But I will definitely link it, and you'll see a picture of Michael too. You can tell Michael cute. Just put that out there right now.
There you go. I love me some me.
Yes, I'll put that out there right now. We have moments of feeling unattractive, but moments of ugliness. But very attractive folks over here. And you can be too. Just go ahead, click that link in bio, because we're taking you from the ugly friend to the cool, confident, cute friend. All right, guys. And again, I'm doing a lot of these reaction videos as episodes because I wanted to show people you don't have to send a Zoom link. You don't have to do all of these preps and all of this stuff for the type of conversations that we want to capture, because people really care about the content of what's happening. I've been getting so many calls about the Ugly People podcast. I've been getting so many calls about it because they're just sharing their stories and relating to it. And I said, we're just going to hit record as soon as I answer.
If what you have to say has value, then turn the camera off and be heard. You know?
There we go. This is a prime example. There's no camera on. Is your camera on, Michael?
No.
My camera is not on. This is a real example. The content needs to get out there, regardless if your hair is done, if you need to hit the gym. It doesn't matter, because what you have to say inspires others, and I want to see you do that. All right, guys.
Peace.
We shall see you later. Bye.
Stay fearless. Bye.
Wait a minute.